Welcome, beloved friends, to Daily God's Promise, Day 22. Today, June 22, 2025, we are going to dive into an incredibly profound and comforting promise from Joel chapter 2 verse 25. So I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the crawling locust, the consuming locust, and the chewing locust, my great army which I sent among you. It's a divine assurance of recovery, redemption, and renewal for anyone who feels that precious time, opportunities, or experiences have been lost. 1. The pain of lost years and God's promise to restore. For friends, Joel chapter 1 graphically describes a devastating locust plague, a great army that consumed everything in its path, leaving behind desolation, famine, and despair. This isn't just an ancient agricultural disaster. It powerfully symbolizes seasons in our lives when we feel that valuable years, opportunities, relationships, health, or even our very joy, have been eaten away. Perhaps it was a lost job, a failed relationship, a prolonged illness, a season of regret, or simply years consumed by anxiety. The pain of what could have been, what should have been, can be immense. But into this very human experience of loss, God thunders his divine declaration in Joel chapter 2 verse 25. So I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. This is God seeing your loss and promising active intervention. 2. Understanding the locusts in our lives and God's sovereignty. The prophet Joel describes 4 types of locusts: swarming, crawling, consuming, and chewing, indicating a complete and thorough devastation. But notice God's profound statement, "My great army which I sent among you." This doesn't mean God causes all suffering, but it does speak to his absolute sovereignty. He can permit, or even use, difficult circumstances for his ultimate redemptive purposes. For Israel, the locust plague was a call to repentance and a prelude to spiritual revival. In our lives, these locusts might be the consequences of our own choices, the attacks of the enemy, or simply the brokenness of a fallen world. Yet, in all of it, God is sovereign, able to work all things for good for those who love him. Romans chapter 8 verse 28. 3. The supernatural extent of God's restoration. When God says, "I will restore to you the years," he is promising more than just simple recovery. This isn't merely about getting back what was lost, it's about redeeming the very time and experience of the loss itself. It implies a making whole, a supernatural restoration that often surpasses the original state, bringing a depth of wisdom, resilience, and spiritual fruitfulness that couldn't have been gained otherwise. Think of Job, who after enduring unimaginable loss and suffering, was restored by God with double portions of his former blessings. Job chapter 42 verse 10. Or Peter, who after denying Jesus 3 times, was not just forgiven, but profoundly recommissioned by the Lord. John chapter 21. God's restoration transforms barren seasons into times of abundant blessing. 4. The path to restoration. Repentance and seeking God. While God's promise of restoration in Joel chapter 2 verse 25 is incredibly gracious, its broader context in Joel chapter 2 emphasizes a crucial element: a call to repentance, to return to the Lord with all one's heart, with fasting, weeping, and mourning. This isn't about earning restoration, but about humbly aligning our hearts with God's. God delights in redemption and second chances, just as the father in the parable of the prodigal son joyfully welcomed his returning son, restoring him to full sonship. Luke chapter 15 verse 11-32. When we confess our part in the locust damage, or simply turn to him in our pain, God's mercy is activated, and His restoring hand begins to work wonders, transforming our past pain into a testimony of His grace. 5. Embracing God's promise of restoration today. So, for this June 22, 2025, what year's eaten? Do you need God to restore? A lost career, a broken dream, wasted time, a damaged reputation, or perhaps emotional healing? God is not limited by your past or the depth of your loss. He is the God of complete restoration. Turn to Him today with a humble heart. Trust in His sovereignty even over the locusts that have passed through your life. Step into His promise of redemption, believing that He will not only recover what was lost but will use every experience to bring about a supernatural harvest of blessing, wisdom, and purpose, far beyond what you could ever imagine. Embrace His power to make all things new. God bless you and give you grace after grace.